mean, I think I wrote this to you guys in one of my narratives as encyclopedia text. You know, the Yankees aren't going to run in front of Judge anyhow. So
Yeah.
there's no sense having like a Volpe who might be a 10 to 15 or 10 to 20 homer guy who can steal 40 bases batting in front of Judge because they're just not going to run. The most important thing for the guys in front of Judge is to have an on base percentage that's in the 350 range so that there's more guys on base. That's why I think Judge should be batting third, but the Yankees don't necessarily have two guys that are going to have a 350 on base percentage. The difference in each batting spot in the batting order, and I read this just recently, is about 35 at bats in a season. So
Hmm.
a guy who bats second will get 35 less at bats, or sorry, plate appearances than the guy who bats leadoff. So if Judge is moving from second to third, he loses 35 plate appearances. I would give up those 35 plate appearances if I knew I had two guys that were going to get on base in front of him at a 350 clip.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, in the old days, if you had a guy batting ninth that had a good on base percentage, or that you knew was going to have a good on base percentage, like when Jeter batted ninth when he came up and he had a 340 on base percentage, then yeah, you could bet your best hitter second. I prefer him to bat third. Last year was a different animal with Soto because you had Soto to protect Judge, and that was he's a better hitter than Judge. No
Hmm.
offense to anybody. So I didn't mind him batting second last year. But this year, if they were to bat somebody in front of Judge, go lefty, righty. We'll see what happens when they throw a lefty starter. Allegedly, Goldschmidt's the leadoff guy, so that'll be interesting.
That'll be very. Yeah, I think it's fine. I had a problem. I really would love to have, and I've talked about it ad nauseum here about how I wanted a leadoff. They're not going to do that. They didn't go out and do that this year. They will they regret it? I don't know. But you know what? For the reason that you said, because the Yankees would never run behind him. So what's the use of having a guy on base
Right.
other than that he's going to hit a home run? So what you really want is a guy who can get on base. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fast guy. It doesn't have to be Mickey Rivers. It just needs to be somebody who we need to see a three. It would be nice to see a 320 to 350 on base guy.
Well, no, it's got to be closer to 350. 320 is nothing.
Yeah, so you need that, and we'll see. We'll see if he does it. If he doesn't, then they're going to struggle because you're going to have problems with Judge is going to hit 50 home runs and have 90 RBIs. I mean, do we really need that this year? I mean, they're going to need 120 RBIs from him again because they've lost so much RBI. So they got to have a guy on base in front of him. So we'll see. Let's hope. I think it's a move. It's not a terrible one. It is what it is. They have reality problems.
I think he's going to get on base.
Yeah.
Well, ideally, Volpe would be a leadoff guy, but like I said, they're not going to let the guys run in front of Judge, and they're certainly not going to bunt guys over. What's funny to me is you don't run because you don't want them to walk your best hitter, right? I live out here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and Bonds was obviously the guy who's most walked ever. And it didn't matter if there was a guy on first base, they would just walk Bonds anyhow. So a guy stealing second is not the reason that somebody's going to walk Judge. The new strategy is you don't want to pitch to this guy. You just don't pitch to him, no matter what happens. I mean, granted, Buck Showalter walked Bonds with the bases loaded, walked him intentionally with the bases loaded one time when he was managing Arizona. But, it doesn't matter if there's a guy on first base. As long as there's an open base someplace, if you don't want to pitch the Judge, you just walk him. And that's, but I don't think they're going to run because even if the guy's safe at second, God forbid he gets thrown out, you're just giving away an out and a potential RBI for Judge. So having Wells bat leadoff with a guy with a higher on base percentage than, let's say, a Jazz Chisholm or that a Volpe would have is going to give Judge more opportunities to knock runs in. The other thing that I know you wrote about, Adam, is third base. That you would like to see them get a third baseman. There's really nobody that's out there that could have picked up.
But I think they will inevitably. I think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to stick with this. I don't think they're going to stick with.
It's going to be somebody that shakes free, but it can't be an Arenado because he's not going to hit it. He's a dead pull hitter. So you don't want somebody like that.
No.
And my thinking is that the Yankees are going to have a second baseman who goes 30-30. And other than Ketel Marte in Arizona, there's no other second baseman that's going to be as offensive as Jazz Chisholm is going to be. So, having him, also having Chisholm bat fifth or sixth with a threesome of Chisholm, Dominguez, Volpe in the 6, 7, 8 hole or the 5, 6, 7 hole means all of a sudden you might get some guys running, because those are the three guys that are going to run on the team. And they might actually, if Rice is in that slot down there, if he's going to be a high contact guy, they could put some runners in motion. And then they got to hope that Cabrera can at least hit 250 and play solid defense.
Yeah.